Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is I, Star 641, here tonight with the next entry of Supernatural Month. For this one, we take a look at Berserk. Now, this is a very interesting anime since it's not only a 90s anime, but one of the more well-known 90s anime. It's up there in knowledge with Ava, Trigun, Outlaw Star, and Cowboy Bebop, even though I don't think it's as famous as Bebop. Now, does that make it good? Your interpretation to it. But is it a great anime? Should you watch it? Is it just amazing? Or is it aged terribly and just needs to go away? Well, let's find out. First up, the story. Now, I can't get too much into the story without spoiling things because, frankly, I don't want to spoil anything with this anime because it's amazing! The story just it flows so nicely. It's told in such a way that it feels like everything is important. That's great for an anime. Even for today's anime, that's a great thing to have that not many seem to have nowadays. Or even back then, for that matter. So, to see something of a story like this is great. It flows nicely. It feels like the story is being told in such a way that it's great. Just, my god, this anime is something to behold. And just something that I quite enjoy. And the story is the centerfold of this. It's up there with Fullmetal Alchemist and Fate Zero as one of my favorite anime stories. Then comes the ending. I'm not going to talk about the ending, but for most people that would know it, it is known to be one of the most infamous endings ever. And I won't give my opinions on it here, but I will in a future video, so look out for that at some point. Otherwise, the story is great. Just great. Go watch it if you want to see the story. Next up are the characters. One of my favorite character of the story is the main character himself, Guts. Guts just is amazing. He feels like a three-dimensional character. I really enjoy this character and all the things he goes through and all of both the hardships and the joys he has. Frankly, he is my favorite character in this show and is becoming one of my favorite anime characters, period. Next up is Casca, and I'll be honest, I didn't like her at first. I thought she was a bitch and was just unlikable. But over time, I grew to like her more, as I saw more of her. And quite frankly, that's the greatest thing you can have for a character, when they are just done right, and they feel like everything is right with them. Great job to the creators for making a character I didn't like at first become likable later on. Next up is Griffith. The less I say about him, the better, because a lot of people know about his infamy, but I will say this, he is a well-written character, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he has some things I'd rather not talk about right now, and we'll talk about them again in a later video. Aside from them though, the supporting cast in general is also really great. I found a lot of them likable and memorable for their own little reasons. And quite frankly, they were just amazing characters. All well written and just fun to watch. Overall, the characters are great. Just like the story. Those two alone would solve the best parts of Berserk. Then we have the animation. Definitely the weakest part of Berserk. The problem with the animation isn't so much that it's bad on some levels. Yeah, it's a little lacking in most scenes, But when it's good, it is good. The problem is, when it's bad, it's not that good. The problem with the animation is threefold. One, it is aged poorly. It looks like a 90s anime, and that's not a compliment. And it shows its age more than even Trigun, and Trigun even had problems with aged animation. The second problem is the still frames, which range from good to ugly. Yeah. Also repeated animation from time to time, but again, 90s anime, you really couldn't help that. Overall, the animation is definitely the weakest part of Berserk. Then comes the music, and time to give praise again! This is a great soundtrack. The OST is great, just awesome. One of the best OSTs I've heard in any anime, period. And I didn't think this at first, I just really liked it at first, but no, listening to it again, it's one of the best soundtracks ever. Things like Forces, which in my opinion may be the best OST piece in all of anime, and the overall soundtrack entirely is just great in general. Just listen for yourself, and don't tell me that it's not a great soundtrack. The opening, however, is another one of the low points of the series. Entirely unfitting, and just bleh. Now, I give it credit that it is in entirely English, but it just doesn't work for me. It's just meh. The ending theme is better. It doesn't great, too great, but it's much more fitting for the series, which technically makes it a hell of a lot better than that, and probably one of my preferred endings for just the fact it's fitting alone. And it is also entirely in English. Go figure. Finally, should you watch this show sub or dub? I never watched it subbed, I watched it dubbed, and I'll say this right now, the dub does show its age from time to time, and some bits and pieces might bother you for that, but I think overall the dub is a pretty good one. At least for what it's worth. It does have its problems, sure, and it does show its age from time to time, but overall, it's actually a pretty good dub, and still listenable even today, with the best roles being Mark Dyson, I think his name is, who plays Guts, and this is easily his best role ever. And for me, Kevin T. Collins, who plays Griffith, both of whom I think are the best voice actors in this dub. Though Casca's voice actress, whose name at the moment escapes me, also deserves a great mention here. Overall, everything in the music / sound department is just great. A great listen and just amazing. What more needs to be said? So yeah, I praised this anime a lot, haven't I? I think I have for great reason, though. Its story is, in my opinion, one of the best in anime. And it is truly something special. I knew by around episode 5 that I was watching something special. It was even regardless to the ending. At a certain point, I didn't care how infamous its ending supposedly was. I just only cared about watching the story and just watching it unfold because I was that into it. Which I had not been that into an anime for a while, where it's just like, oh my gosh, I gotta watch this next episode, I've gotta watch this next episode. It made me excited to watch an episode again. Which, after some of the anime that I've seen in recent time periods where it's like, I don't really want to watch another episode of this, cough cough Future Diary. But this anime reminded me of another reason I love anime. Such unique storytelling and just so amazing. It's a great series. I highly recommend it. Though watch out for certain problems it has, because I'm going to warn you, it is going to be a tough watch for people that do know of its ending, because it is an instant turn-off, and I can understand perfectly why. But again, I'm not explaining it here because I won't dare spoil it. You have to see for yourself, I think, to know what it's truly about. Even if you know of the ending, see it for yourself, because the ending literally left me shaking. That's how it affected me. It affected me physically. And you saw how it affected me mentally too. But I was literally shaking while I recorded that. That's how powerful that ending was. And that's all I really need to say. Overall, go watch this series. It's amazing. I give Berserk an 8.5 out of 10. It's only shy of an outright 9 because of the animation and the other minor little things I mentioned previously in this review. But overall, this is a great series that I think people should watch, even just to see it. Do I think it's a must-love? Hell no. Do I think it's a must-watch? Yeah. I do, actually. I think this is a must-watch, even if you have to go to the trilogy, the movie trilogy, which I'll cover at a later time to see it. Overall, just watch Berserk. Anyways, that's all from me. This has been Star6Wars1, and I'll see you guys next time.